Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor and a privilege to be here and to be your facilitator for this afternoon. We're going to discuss government affairs, lobbying, public affairs in a broader way. The challenge for anybody in my position is it's extremely complicated. And I know you have all different backgrounds and different types of expertise, coming from different countries with different systems. So government affairs is typically organized towards a government. And it's very difficult to be very specific on how to approach your government. So by definition, I will have to be very big picture today, very, very broad and really go into the basics. But at the same time, I will also give you the floor. So ask your questions, whatever questions you may have. And then afterwards, we do some interactive work, work amongst yourself to see what priorities could be for your organization at the national level or at the European level. But more about that later. As Jonathan said, I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry. I've been a consultant for 2 years now, after I fell ill and got cancer myself. Before that, I was VP Public Affairs at Janssen at Europe, Middle East, and Africa level. I was member of the management committee of the company. And as you can imagine, for a pharmaceutical company, government affairs is critical. I mean, because you have to interact with policymakers, you have to interact with people at European institutions to block or to change proposed legislation, or to weigh on, even tax systems, or how researchers are coming out of universities. So the education system is important because you need people to work in the company. So, or investments to come into a country. So many, many topics that we worked on. Before that, I was a consultant in a variety of consultancies, Burson Marsteller, Weber Shandwick, big names, working primarily in health-related topics, but also some food-related. So I organized coalitions in food safety in the 1990s, bringing together multi-stakeholder meetings and trying to move the agenda forward to the benefit of citizens and consumers. But enough about myself. I have a few slides in introduction, and then we will have a discussion or learn from 2 case studies from your country, from Finland and Bulgaria. But first of all, oops, I pushed the wrong button. No, here it is. What is politics? Politics is a huge treasure chest full of money that is available for people to do things with. It's your tax money that's in there, right? It's your tax money. And very often people think they have all these budgets and we have such high needs. We should be able to match that. Yeah? They have to give some of that money to us so that we can do things that are valuable, or they should invest money in things that are relevant for us. Yes? The reality, of course, is that you're not the only ones trying to have some money out of that chest. And so the politician will say, sorry, we have no budget anymore. That's government affairs. What do you do to get over this? Right? There's never budget for anything because it's already planned, and every year they make a new budget and there are minor changes for one or the other. They scrap a few things, they add a few things, but in general it's pretty much the same. They're not going to reduce education money with 50% and give that money to the army, for instance. So usually it's very stable with minor fluctuations. So what can you do to get money from an almost empty treasure chest? Any ideas? What will convince politicians to give money to you? Huh? So the question is, why would anyone give money to your cause that is not budgeted for? Right? They don't have a budget for that.
Yeah, some benefit for them.
Yes, so benefit for them. And what value could that be for them?
Well, if they give money to you, that it will save money in the other end.
Okay, and when will it save money? When will the savings be?
Well, in the future.
Yes, okay. Does that appeal to a politician?
Short term.
Yeah.
It's appealing. Long term, no.
Yeah. So that is one of the challenges. So many people say, if you invest, you will save money in the future. Politicians don't care about it. First of all, everybody says it. You know, road safety. You say you have to invest now and you will have less people dying in a few years from road safety. And the politician says it's election next year. By the time that the road has been reworked, I'm long gone. So they want immediate success. But that's what everybody says. So absolutely, you can try it. Anything else? Sorry? Votes. Yes. And so how do you translate your challenge, your need, into something that is relevant for political votes? Okay, let's wait for this. Yes?
By showing that you have a group of votes behind you that want some change to happen, and therefore by enacting that change.
Right. A significant group of people. Right. How many are you?
In total?
Yes.
42. 40.
40?
Yes.
No, I mean people, patients, and family of patients.
Millions.
Yes. Millions. So that should appeal to politicians. You had a...
I just wanted to add, for politicians, it's very important to raise a positive image
Right,
for the next elections.
right. And for them to be visible in that, to come with positive results. Yes?
If I go and ask money or budget for my project, the money is the price that we were talking in our table early this morning. But if my project is the price, then I can get the money easily.
Can you explain? Can you explain that?
So the price, a different meaning, the price. So for example, if I want to sell this apple to you,
Sure.
the money in your pocket is the price.
Okay.
Right.
How much you have?
Yeah. So
Not much.
if you don't have any, okay. So if I tell you that you need this apple, and everybody has money in their pocket, then this is the price, and you pay for it.
Okay.
No, it's called price. Not price, prize with Z. Z.
Yes.
Z.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get the
Yes.
apple?
Thank you for the apple. Okay. Any other suggestions? Yes?
I think to make them feel committed.
Yes?
Once it's their kind of personal cause, it becomes the personal cause.
Exactly. Yes.
Whether
Very
there's
good.
money, if not, they will fight for you.
Yes.
So you need
Yes.
to network
Yes.
and build up relations.
Exactly. What else? We'll have the...
Citizen action, meaning demonstrations, people on the street, etc., making news that you're not delivering for us.
Right. Okay, very good. We'll talk about that more later. Anything else?
And sometimes it's good to be stone-headed,
Yes.
to sit in the front of the politician's door and don't move, even when they say, I
Yes.
don't have any time now. You can sit there and
Yes.
ask.
Chain yourself to the gate. Yes. Yeah.
It works.
It works. Okay. What else? Any other ideas? Okay, we'll talk about that more. So there's first of all, it has to fit with their agenda, right? I think that is an important part. If they have a total different vision, it's very difficult to sell it into them. So it has to fit with their agenda. Money is always made available if there is a high sense of urgency. Migration crisis, money is put on the table, and rightly so, because it needs to be addressed. If the budget implications are limited, so they always have a little wiggle room within their budgets to spend money left and right. So if the money you ask is not overly huge and is limited in terms of the time, it's possible to get the money. If there is strong public pressure, we've seen that, and the manifestation that you mentioned, demonstrations, If you come with a pilot project, right? If they say, well, this may save so much money for everybody in a few years' time, start with a pilot, see whether it works for everybody, and that's something that is tangible, the politician can identify with, it's easy to set up, and maybe the results are a little bit quicker than you have a big campaign. Personal relationship, you've mentioned it. Make sure that there's a connection, networking, that there is new innovation. Obviously, if new treatments come to the market, this is the good moment to work for it. And it has result and saves money, right? The first one that you mentioned, but again, that is in many years in time. These are a number of topics, and we'll discuss them more in detail. I think from what I've heard, you have all very good knowledge already about what needs to be done. So I think without further ado, let's listen to some of the case studies that come from the countries. Oh yes, and basically what it is that if the government is on the right, and sorry for the letters jumping on the slide, is that you have that government is supported by a Ministry of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Budget, Public Health, and maybe a few others that are relevant for them with all their civil servants behind it. Then you have the political level, which is the political parties, parliament that weighs in on the decision making by the government. Then you have a number of stakeholders. You know, in our environment, it's hospitals, it's doctors, it's other patient organizations, it's pharma, medtech companies, and anybody else active in the domain. But then on top of that, you also have the larger public. You have media, NGOs, think tanks, and other groups that try to weigh on the decision making. So if you are one of those, remember there are hundreds of organizations trying to get funding and money for similar projects. So even within the patient advocacy space, you have a number of other organizations trying to do the same with the same money or similar objectives with the same money. So I think this is good to keep in mind when we discuss it later. Jonathan.